It's time for Murder Moose!
Hey everybody, welcome to Murder Moose, part of the Slash and Cast Podcast Network.
Oh yeah! I don't think you said that last time.
No, I did. I did.
2 seconds left. Yeah. You're like, oh yeah, by the way. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way. I was like,
oh yeah,
I am real. By the way, I'm an idiot, and I waited way too long to pimp the thing that we do.
Oh
which
yeah,
is,
by the way.
By the way, I am ADHD incarnate. I mean, we are ADHD incarnate, right?
What?
What? Squirrel?
What? Pencil?
So
that was me in high school. I was like, wait, what? Oh shit, someone just dropped a pencil. It's like, oh shit, yeah. Oh no, they're not going to say that again? Oh, well, I guess I can just stop listening for the rest of the class.
I never have to listen again because, fuck, I missed it already.
Yeah.
I missed it already. So, it is Tuesday. We usually record on Wednesday, but we're recording on Tuesday this week because I'm going to go do Bailey from We Came From Beneath the Sea are doing a thing about teen slashers tomorrow night.
Ooh.
And so he asked us to bring, it's me and Kyle from the Trick or Treat podcast joining him, and he wanted us to bring like teen slasher movies. And they're like brought like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'm bringing Happy Death Day because
I love that movie.
I feel
it's so fun.
It's more of what like the modern slashers kind of become, right? And I think it's like the best example of something like that, of a teen slasher type movie, but of what's happening now, which is kind of why I like comparing it to what they're talking about. I think is a good idea. So that should be interesting.
You know what movie I love in that genre that is kind of almost like a parody, but done so well. It's called The Final Girls. And
oh, yes.
So good.
I haven't seen it because it was on Hulu. And Hulu actually, Hulu pisses me off. Hulu leaves those fucking messages in the front of its movies like it's like an old TNT or TBS movie where it's like, this film has been edited for feature running length and content. Viewer discretion is advised. And like I started up that movie and I think I didn't realize, I thought it was rated R and I thought that Hulu but it's a PG-13 movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, it's really done well. I love that movie.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't want to waste my time with this if it's all edited up and bullshit, right? Like, and so I didn't end up watching it. And then I realized it was just
the
Hulu being
TV
stupid.
Edit.
Oh, yeah. No.
That's the worst edit ever.
What's
what?
What's the famous line from the second one where it's like they did it?
Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon. That's the one.
Yeah.
That's what it always said on like TBS or whatever. But I've heard that it's edited and said different things for different regions or something, because people are like, no, I swear it was this for me. And I was like, what? Okay, that's kind of weird.
That also might be what's the stupid effect where you remember something one way and it's actually another way? The whole Berenstein, and it's really the Berenstein Bears. And shit like that. The Mandela effect, I think that's what it's called. Is it the Mandela effect where you remember something like that and it's really some other way, which I have an example of that to this day. Which it's supposed to be like you remember like echoes of a parallel universe or some shit like crazy like that, right? Like you crossed over or something like that. Highlander 3, I saw in the theaters with my dad. And it was PG-13 in my head, or it was rated R or something like that, and it's really PG-13. And I'm like, but no, it was rated this.
A whole bunch of heads or something in Highlander.
Yeah, but you could cut off a whole lot of heads and not show blood, and you're fine.
Right.
It's the violence is even the problem with them. It's like blood, like because
you're
of things
in
like
my world now.
God damn, don't start with me, dude. We'll get into this shit show, which I think you liked a little more than I did.
I think I was just influenced because my wife was like, oh, this is a fun movie, like having fun with it. And I'm like, what? No, it was right before it turned into the Nightmare on Elm Street.
The Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, it was right before that. And I was like, I was like, I don't know. I honestly don't know what he's talking about. And then all of a sudden, the music from A Nightmare on Elm Street started happening, or like the royalty free version of it, and
like DCMA version.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, this is like the craziest ripoff. And they have the light going through the fan and it was
and
it was
red. It was red, just like the Nightmare on Elm Street, like when you go into the God. We'll get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
So how's your week going, Josh? I know that from watching your Twitter a couple minutes ago, you are under 9 feet of snow and snowpocalypse is here.
It sucks. It's just the wind though, and it is really crazy because you were like, what the fuck is a Chinook? I didn't realize this because I'm born and raised in Calgary. There's only like one place in the world that gets Chinooks, and that's like a very small span of like pretty much Calgary and like, north and south a bit of here that gets Chinooks. And I was like, wait a second, other people in the world don't have this, and it's crazy, but it's like in the wintertime, it will be like minus 40 degrees Celsius one day, and then a Chinook will roll in, and you'll just have a band of clouds that's just like a straight line down the middle of Calgary, and it will be plus 22 the next day. It's insane. It's like minus 44, plus 22, and a weird band of clouds, and like crazy wind and headaches for everyone involved.
That's kind of insane.
Yeah, it's because of we're so close to the mountains, so we get crazy stuff, right?
Well, I mean, I live in Colorado too, so it's in Colorado also. In Colorado, obviously, the mountains, Rocky Mountains, are here, so we're
very close. You're so close to getting Chinooks, it's not even funny.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's Colorado weather is crazy, so Josh is living through shit tons of like crazy snow. We got snow earlier in the week, but yeah.
Our big mall is called Chinook Center, so it's just like.
Does Canada still have malls?
Dude, we have like West Edmonton Mall in Edmonton is like one of the biggest malls in the world. It's like
let's go to the mall.
The Mall of America wasn't the biggest for a bit, and then now it is.
Yeah.
Because of West Edmonton Mall. That was like Edmonton's claim to fame. Other than, obviously, the Stanley Cups and stuff.
It was funny. Someone tagged me in something the other day, and it was like a guy talking about what you can do if a moose tries to murder you. And I don't know where this guy was from, but it made me laugh. Because I'm like,
if a moose is coming after you, you're fucked, man.
Which is one of the reasons why I thought Murder Moose was a wonderful name for a podcast, and I still think it is. So, I mean, if you ever see a moose... Yeah, I do too, man. I find it perfect. You ever see a moose coming for you, you're basically fucked. So,
just like Train to Busan. I want to watch the second one now, but there's other movies that we can watch too.
Yes, this is true. Yeah. So, my week has been. I got a little bit of snow, and it's almost gone.
What are you doing? How have you?
Because of Colorado. Colorado snow is already gone, so we're better. Like with our weather now, but now it's like I'm just like it's gonna keep doing this. This is what Colorado does all winter. It gets really cold, gets like warms up, gets really cold, warms up, snows, disappears. I mean, last year I was going to BlizzCon right about this time, a little bit like earlier than this, and we got like plowed the day I was going to BlizzCon. So yeah, it's Colorado. Besides that, my wife and I watching The Haunting of Bly Manor, which is pretty good. It's the Netflix show, like after The Haunting of Hill House, that same guy who did Hush, which is still one of my favorite underrated horror movies that's come out in the last decade or so.
Dude, there's a new movie called The Dark and the Wicked that we could check out.
That sounds cool. I like the name.
There's also Haunting of the Mary Celeste. I think that's what it's called.
That's the ship, right?
The ship.
Yeah, that's that's the haunted ship I saw.
My buddy Ian, like Activator, was like one of the cameramen on it.
So there's my sister's real obsessed with this YouTuber who she does makeup.
Or
she
the
does like
Possessor is still one of the ones too. Yeah, sorry.
She went and stayed on that ship because it's an actual hotel now. Like
what? Really?
Yeah, it's like a hotel in like I think it's in Maryland or something. Like it's just like docked forever, but they've turned it into a hotel. And there's like some really fucking creepy ass rooms that you can stay in.
There's some like haunted places in Calgary that you can like do like haunted overnight stuff at.
So I went over the summer and went and was at the Overlook Hotel or whatever it's really called. I forget offhand right now.
You actually went? That's sick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like 40 minutes away from me. It's not very far from me. And they were talking about, they were like, yeah, sometimes you can see ghosts walking around. I'm like, I need to come back and actually hang out here. It was also during COVID, so I didn't stay very long. But it's a cool hotel. It doesn't look anything like the hotel in the Shining. But,
yeah, because they like added that carpet for the movie and like all that stuff too, right? You think they would like add that carpet? Like it's the
yeah, just to like make that carpet so like iconic, and like they would make they would like block off room 237 and shit like that, and just like fuck with people. I would hire furries to just roam around the hotel the whole time and just like be like fucking furries, like, and scare people.
Well, that's what the whole movie's actually about.
I mean, it's about how furries drive people crazy, and actually, this is what it is. It's when you don't accept that you're meant to be a furry in life, you go insane. So, guys,
and you cut through doors.
Gentle day and ladies and gentle thems, as I've been instructed to say. If you have urges to be a furry, don't resist them. Are you going to knock down a door with an axe and go, "Here's Johnny"?
Answer the call.
Answer the call. Red Rum.
You're in my world. You're in my world.
That made me so angry. You're ruining my rage already, Josh. Oh my god. Oh my god.
You're in my world now.
That and the where we watched it had afterwards. It was like suggested movies or similar movies that showed Nightmare on Elm Street, and I'm like,
dude. I had the perfect. Description of this movie last night. It was like the writer or director or something had this cast, and he was like, "Oh, it'd be really cool if we could get Tobin Bell. Okay, we got him. Oh shit, sweet. Okay, it'd be really awesome if we could get Lynn Shay. Okay, we got it. Oh fuck. Shit.
Now I gotta write a movie.
Now I gotta write a movie. Fuck. I'm just gonna take lines straight from their biggest movies, like, you want to play a game? He said that in Saw. What the fuck? And then Lynn was saying shit straight from, like, what the fuck was going on here? Like, all their biggest lines from their movies and all the other movies. It was like a ripoff of 10 things put into one. It made it all worked together as a film, but it was blatant and heavy-handed with all of its like rip-offs. Blatant.
Yeah. It's so fucked up, and it has elements when we go into spoilers that like I feel like they went for easy targets for making viewers feel uncomfortable. They're like, "Oh, what's the easiest way?" They went with like
the guy, the nice guy that went in.
Yeah.
He's the nice guy. And they're like, "Hey, what trope haven't we used yet? The upside down creepy girl thing. Like, let's just layer it on. Like everything, anything we can rip off that's been used. It's like, what haven't we ripped off? That upside down girl thing. Okay, throw it in."
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
It
just peppered.
It was, everything about this movie was, the concept itself was kind of cool. And actually, the creepiest element of phone calls in the movie, and the phone calls are creepy just because of Lin Shaye's fucking. Lin Shaye is.
Yeah, she went all in on this one and looked fucking dope, and like the makeup they did on her, and she goes all out with her face. Like she looked like creepy as fuck, but like
Tobin Bell was as good as he could be with what he was given, I think, and that was like.
But it felt like they didn't. I don't know, man. Like,
okay,
those two
let's just
deserve
talk about
better.
Let's talk about the movie, and we haven't even mentioned the title because it actually is aggravating both of us, but me worse. It's called The Call. It came out this year. It stars like it says
From the creator
Lin Shaye.
of Final Destination. Really?
Yeah. But I don't even know. So every time you say from the creator, you could be like an executive producer who like they just paid you to put your name on there. I don't like the director. I've never heard of. Like this guy, it was directed by Timothy Woodward Jr., who
he's done a bunch.
But like none of them. I've never heard of any of them. It looks like every single one of these is a sci-fi channel. Yeah. He has a movie called Gnome Alone. Josh, he did a movie called Gnome Alone.
Okay, the writer wrote The Call and The Job. That was it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And it seems like the guy whoever wrote it got really okay. So this guy is about like my age. He was like a couple months younger than me, but like, Jesus Christ, he looks like a baby. But so okay, this movie came out this year. It just came out recently, I think. But let's go here, Josh. Do your usual. Read the synopsis.
In the fall of 1987, a group of small-town friends must survive the night in the home of a sinister couple after a tragic accident brings them to the couple's door.
So I feel like this synopsis is the most like bullshit synopsis I've ever read of a movie in my entire life. Like,
and the fact that it's like set in 1987 for almost literally no reason.
No,
other than the fact that they could just like show the Walkman. But
no, it's because it's the same reason. It's every single one of these movies now, and like a lot of horror movies are going back to being shot in the 80s, like or being set.
So
in the
those
80s.
Rules, yeah.
No, it's not even that. So they don't have cell phones.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Well, no, it's the rules. Yeah. So the cell phones like break all the rules of like horror. Essentially, they give you an out in any situation. You are like, oh, just you have a cell phone, so you're good, right?
Yeah. Well, it's the thing
well,
where
not
it's
every,
like,
but like a lot.
Yeah, and but instead of like going like being like host and like adapting to times, people are just like, it just seems and feels so lazy to me. Like they go back and like, okay, we have to go back to the 80s. And besides like the one dude looks like he's trying to be Corey from like Lost Boys with his like his cross earring that he's got.
Oh my
and everything
God,
like that.
I fucking hated that.
Yeah. And so basically,
and it like glistened in the light all the time too.
Yeah. There's so much that like frustrated me about this movie, and it like how you got Tobin Bell and Lin Shaye to be in this movie is actually beyond me. I think it's because Lin Shaye was probably on set for 13 minutes and 12 of that was putting makeup on. No, but she wasn't, not exactly, but she probably wasn't there for more than a week, and Tobin Bell was probably there for 2 weeks, if that. And I don't even think he was there that long. The movie is basically this girl, is it Tanya? Yeah, it was her. When she was little, her little sister went missing, and Lin Shaye's character, his name is Edith Cranston, which is also just such a fucking generic name. It's such a generic, like, creepy person in a horror movie name.
That's my grandma's name.
Is it really?
Edith, yeah. That was my grandma's name.
And she ran a daycare and she basically got blamed for it and they shut her down. And so ever since then, uh, Tanya and her friends would fuck with this lady. Like they said they like flooded her basement and threw rocks through her. These are little bastard children.
What
Like
the
they,
fuck? Like,
yeah,
when you find it, and then that guy's just standing there, and he's like, if I found out the people that you're like interested in, like hanging out with and like getting with the girl, and you find out they're
Yeah.
that low scum, I would be like, never mind.
but that dude, the whole premise is like this dude just wants to get fucked. Like it seems
Oh,
like it's
yeah,
like the premise. He's like,
yeah, he
I'll
just
put
wants
up with
to get
anything.
it in, and he likes her crimped hair. Like he can't get enough of that crimped hair.
So much 80s, man. That and he wants, dude. If I was this kid, I would do a lot not to be in the home because I don't want to ruin it yet. But the shit this fucking kid has to deal with at his home, like they moved to this like town because of
Those
because
brothers,
of what happened.
man, those brothers
Yeah.
had it bad. But that's
Yeah,
straight
they
out of
did
like
it.
that's like out of it, like the abusive dad. But I guess it wasn't abusive to the girl, but still, like he was
It was
fucking crazy.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it was all like it reminded me of like the other thing. It reminded me of was like the butterfly effect, like the whole like the. It just.
I mean, if you're gonna
movies
go
can-
like full like and it's only like one shot of like a weird out of focus like scream, you gotta add more glitch and more like it was so like lazily like that's the stuff that I do, and like that's the stuff that I love about movies is the extra attention to detail on the like effects and stuff. It's like I produce this stuff in my basement, so if I can, you can too, Hollywood. Like, come on.
Well, I mean, it's like this, like you said. I think that you summed it up perfectly when you said that they got Tobin Bell and Lynn Shade to do this, and they went, "Oh fuck, we have to write a horror movie." Like that's what it feels like. It really feels like it is.
I want to play a game. When he said that, I was like, "Oh my god!"
Tobin Bell, known for what he's known for these days is being Jigsaw in the Saw movies. And actually says, "I want to play a game at some point in the movie," and then
sets up like a puzzle where they have to go in one by one, and he says the rules.
It's so incredibly lazy.
Or they're like, okay, we typecast these roles for these people, and let's see if we can get them. Holy shit, we got them. I guess maybe that's what happened. I don't know. It just seems
so basically, these kids. We're just gonna sum it up, and then we'll go in and actually spoil it. They fuck with this lady because she killed. She supposedly was responsible for this girl's sister disappearing, and they end up like bringing this new kid who's named Chris, and like he's joining their group like Josh was talking about, and they bring him and they go over there and they throw bricks through windows and like a skunk. Where the fuck did they get a skunk? They're just carrying a skunk around, man. And how much, you know how bad you would sink if you carried a skunk around? Fuck, man, fuck that shit. And they run into the old lady, and then she dies not that long after it.
Man, when she was grinding her teeth, Kissy literally had to look away.
Dude.
She's like, oh,
dude,
the
I
sounds
did too,
were
because-
great. So good.
Yeah,
I love Foley. That's done well. And they did a good job on that.
That actually was one of the most cringe moments I've ever seen in a movie, just because they had someone, Lynn Shay grinding her teeth so hard that it felt like her teeth snapped.
She was fucking good in this, man. Like
she's not in it. Yeah.
She was like,
she's not in it very
I
long.
have to carry this movie. Okay, I'll do that. Like,
so, you know, it's funny because I hear that like she was the best thing about the new Grudge that came out too. Like the
I
at the
haven't
beginning
watched
of the
it.
year. Yeah, she's in that, and she's supposed to be the best thing about that movie too.
She's fucking
I mean,
great, man.
In the Insidious movie, she's great.
Oh yeah,
she's
dude.
like, she's always
She
bomb.
brings it.
And like, yeah, and so like basically, Lynn Shay's character dies, and so Tobin Bell's character, who's named Edward, calls all these kids and says, "Hey, do you want $100,000? All you have to do is make a phone call and lasts for a minute." and that's all it is. And
play my game.
yeah, and they say it in the thing. They're like, oh, who are we calling? Oh, my wife. We put a phone in her coffin. And you're like, what kind of bullshit is this? And so that's like, this movie's only like 90 minutes long.
I'm glad. That's like,
yeah.
if it's good. But like, again, if you're going to go all out like they did with this. But I don't know. Like,
Dude,
in the end, it all ends up somehow coming together and working. So I'm happy that happened. But
yeah. So the thing what I hate about it too is, we're not gonna spoil yet, but this. So you set up this. They set up a premises, right, and then do the same exact thing twice in a row, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Because the two characters who are brothers don't look anything like fucking brothers, but like they're brothers, right? And so that's like the two guys, the Zach and Brett are the brothers, right? And they don't look anything like brothers, but
man,
and then they set up this
story is so fucked. Like everyone is like, well, okay, I guess die. Fuck, you're just like pretty tragic.
It's like we're edgelords. We're the edgies that can be edgy when we're edgy. And it's just like,
no one's allowed to just have a backstory that you're like, oh, okay, I like this character. It's just like oh, fuck.
I went to high school. No one murder killed my family, or like
I didn't
I'm not
watch blood dripping out of a windshield. Just like very.
Yeah, it's
like,
so like everyone's tragic and everyone's like no one's had a normal life and I'm still like even with everything that happened, like with the kids fucking with Lin Shaye's character, Edith, like.
Well, it's because it's so fucked up, I guess, right? Like, I guess that's supposed to make sense, but it really doesn't. It really it just doesn't make sense because it is so violent and it is so targeted and it is just and when you like it is so like then it just doesn't make sense on another level. Once you find out, you're just like, well, then it really just doesn't make sense again.
It comes back when at the very end of the movie where there's a Saw-esque ending here almost, and again we're gonna keep referring to the movies they ripped off of this. And
snorted.
Yeah, and they go, and then you go back and you think about it, and you go, so why did this thing at the beginning happen? Because that really doesn't make any sense now, and.
It's just so there's enough tension between the characters that the justice is justified almost. Yeah. Because like
we'll talk about that in spoilers.
If you don't feel for the old lady, then you know, like, and they're fucking vicious. Like, why are they breaking her windows all the time and shit? Like, oh my god.
But I want to know how that woman has a fucking. I want to know what old Tobin did, Mr. Edward Cranston, because that house was massive. Like, and she ran a daycare, and like, what the fuck did he do? It's like he's like fucking like
I was discovering oil fields.
Yeah, that's a line.
Playing games.
Which doesn't make it. I was fighting cancer and putting people in traps. Want to play a game? And so, but the ending thing is not nearly. I liked it, but it wasn't nearly as clever as I think they acted like it was. And
is he in Spiral? Is he going to be in Spiral or?
I don't actually know. I assume so because everything has Jigsaw flashbacks, but it actually doesn't look like it. Whoa, he's not in it. No.
Oh wait, no, he is. Oh wait, Jigsaw.
Is he?
No, he's not. That's Jigsaw.
Oh, he's not.
It's called Jigsaw.
No, he's not.
He's died like 8 times, and then he comes back.
So Jigsaw made sense though because it was a like 2 timeline movie, but like,
man, I loved I Know What You Did Last Summer, and Hollow Man.
Hollow Man with naked Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so this movie, I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it. If you have if you see it on Netflix at some point or Amazon Prime and you're bored as fuck, I could watch it just because of there are some cool things in it and it's kind of brutal at times, but man, like the rip off elements of this movie is actually amazing. And I
see, like
there's
the
a lot.
cast, those two, the heavy hitters, like that is enough to get me interested in watching it.
That's why I picked it. That's why I picked it,
100%.
because of those two. Yeah.
And that's why I agreed as well. I was like 100%. You got those two heavy hitters in it. I guess it honestly, yeah, like I think it was Andrew was saying, he's like, it honestly doesn't matter who you can get to be at the top of a movie. It doesn't mean it's going to be a good fucking movie. Like, hey, we got this star power, so what? It's like, so yeah, it's like judging it by the cover. Yeah, which
it's yeah. So
it's not a bad poster.
I'm not gonna say that this is the worst movie I've ever seen, because it's not. But it is,
because there was elements that were done well. Yeah. It was just like, as a whole, it didn't feel like it was well thought out or something.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So if you see it, you can watch it. Don't expect much, but there's entertaining parts. But don't go out of your way to watch this. And now we're gonna spoil the shit out of this. And you want to play a game, Josh? Do you? Okay, we're gonna spoil the shit now, and I'm gonna be mad. But so yeah. So like we said, this all premises on this new kid who moves to town and who has the worst mom I've ever seen in a movie, and that includes like Carrie and shit like that. I hate this woman with a passion that is like this kid comes home and he's like sitting in bed trying to read or something, and his mom is fucking so loud that is like it's like banging his headboard, and then she comes into his room and she's like, oh, I didn't think you were home. And then I don't know if it's the next day or it's the same conversation.
He took me to Dairy Queen.
Yeah,
is the next thing she said, by the way.
And then she goes, when you meet him, can you call him Dad?
Yeah.
It's like,
he took me to Dairy Queen, and then she says, can you call him Dad? That's the intro to this fucking movie. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, classy.
The writing is A+ right now, man. Holy fuck. Yeah. And so the character Chris meets this girl Tanya at school, and her like ex-boyfriend, I guess. She's like kind of like a bad girl, and her ex-boyfriend Zach and his brother Brett. And Zach is the hard ass with the cross tattoo, or the cross earring that's like right out of Lost Boys. And he wears like a leather jacket, like he's like, it's so stereotypical 80s badass dude with the most like ice baby eyebrows I think I've ever seen in the history of ice baby eyebrows. But man, so these guys go out and they like fuck around, and they go to the fair or the like circus or whatever the fuck it is, and sit there and smoke pot and drink beer because 80s. And then they go,
I'll hit that.
He takes a hit out of a joint and then is like coughing for the next hour and a half of the movie. And they're like, oh, okay, we're gonna go terrorize this old lady now. What? And then this Chris character says, what the fuck are you talking about? And they explain about the whole backstory that she was responsible for Tanya's sister disappearing. And you go, okay. So they go and throw rocks through her windows and a skunk, and Chris can't do it because Chris is actually kind of a good kid. And which is like Josh was talking about. It's like he's a good character, but they all have tragic pasts, and which is actually kind of bullshit in the long run. But and then when they turn around to leave, they run it into Edith, and she's like, they're like, we hate you, and she's like, I hate you more, and you're gonna go to hell, and I'm gonna wait for you, and it's it's all stereotypical go to hell.
Don't worry, I'm sitting on the bus right now, and I'm keeping the seat warm beside me. Yeah, and I got a VIP ticket for you in the back seat. Come on with me.
Aw, dun 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 dun. Aw. And so they all leave and they're like, well, whatever. And then like this is the whole part that was confusing because you referred to it earlier. Like Edward comes home at some point and maybe he just got home after it. Like he must get home right after they fuck with her. And they're sitting there and they're like, she's like stewing. And he's like, oh, it's okay, honey. Whatever. It's not a big deal. Just a bunch of stupid kids. And then so right after that, she goes, okay. And then she goes and hangs herself in the middle of their house, which I don't understand. Like you're talking about how much you hate these kids. And so then you go and kill yourself because they broke your windows. They slashed your tires. Yeah, but you're going to kill yourself? And like,
because she was scared to death. That was her reasoning too. You scared me half to death, so I killed myself fully to death. It's like, what? And the reasoning behind that is very solid. Maybe it's a good thing.
It makes even less sense when you go and hear about what actually happened later on. But so then the kids find out about it. Like Chris is reading a newspaper or something, and he sees that she died, and maybe that's when she's like, when you meet him, can you call him daddy? Which is fucking insane. Insane, Josh. Insane. And so at some point, okay, this is my next point. They all get letters from Edward, aka Tobin Bell, and saying they need to come to whatever. And I don't know how either one of them knew who any of these people were besides Tanya's character. Like Tanya's character makes sense that Edith knew who she was because she was the sister of this girl that disappeared that ruined this old lady's life basically. But I don't know how they knew who the other three were, especially this Chris kid.
Well, no, and he was like, "Oh, you're new. Well, you're fucked anyways." And it's just like that. It just goes to show that this whole setup and this whole everything was just there anyways, and it didn't matter who was like it was for them. But like, I don't know.
Yeah, it made no sense. It was just like, I'm gonna fuck all these people. Like, I don't know how they figured out who anyone was. But basically, they get these letters and they go and meet Edward.
All
and he
these
goes,
Disney actors.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, my wife wanted you to, like, her last wish was that you play this game. You want to play a game? And he basically says, there's a phone up the stairs. Go call it and last a minute. And if you do, you get $100,000. And they're like, who's on the phone? Oh, it's Edith. You mean the woman who just died? Yep. It was her. I installed a phone in her grave. What? How do you install a phone in 1987 into a grave? I would really like to someone explain this to me because they don't explain any of it. That like besides that Edith is Freddy Krueger apparently, because that's the premise that we're going with here. Like, why was Edith Freddy Krueger? Because children and because so they're like, nah, we don't want to do that, even though like the two brothers kind of want to do it, but they don't really give a fuck. But then he's like, well, if you don't, I'm gonna take these letters to the cops. And it's like, I don't know how much evidence you have that these kids fucked with you, and I don't think they would actually end up being in that much trouble. But they all decide, oh no, we're gonna do it for $100,000 because I mean they do it because they don't.
The whole like every like next plot point that happens is just like brushed along. It's just like, yeah, but this has to happen. Oh, okay. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, well, the audience has to just like come along now. It's like, oh, okay. And you just have to accept.
Yep. Yeah, you have to accept it because if it's the whole like, you know the guy who does the movie pitch thing on YouTube where he's like, the one guy is always like, well, isn't that super hard for them to accomplish? And he's like, no, it's super easy, barely an inconvenience. That guy. Do you know who I'm talking about? Who does it's like him, and he's doing movie pitches for all these famous movies.
Yeah.
And that's what it kind of reminds me of. Like, oh, this was super easy, barely an inconvenience, because the writing just doesn't make any sense. But so he finally does it, and he's like, okay, you have to be on the phone for a minute. And then after you do, you go out the back door and you get $100,000. And they're like, okay. And then he gives him the order, which is also weird. Like, why does the order matter for this? And so it's like Zach and then his brother Brett. They have to go first, and then this Chris dude, and then Tanya. And this is where I start getting really mad. So the Zach dude goes first, and what happens is they get on the phone, they call, and it's Edith, the dead lady, who sounds creepy as fuck, like I was saying earlier. But
you're in my world now.
Yeah. She literally at one point at the very end says that. She says, "You're in my world now." And
no. She says that like several times throughout the movie.
Ugh. I don't know if I noticed before the last one, and the last one made me mad. Because
I think the last one she says, "Bitch."
Yeah. It's so Freddy Krueger. It's like, so basically she sucks him into this mirror.
Into the door window? No.
Yeah. And does their nightmare things. Like, it's like, what is the worst thing that's ever happened to these people? And so, like, at this point, they're like trying to make you feel bad for these kids. And so,
well, it's kind of Preacher-esque too. Have you ever watched Preacher? Like, I love their rendition of hell. It's so fucking good, man. But it's it's been a long time. That's the vampire and the guy and the angel in the diner movie, right? No. The AMC TV series Preacher.
Oh, yeah. I watched like one episode and then never watched any more of it.
So hell
I thought it was cool.
Is so cool because it's like run by like just normal people, right? Yeah. And the guy that comes back who's like got all these powers and can't die or whatever. Well, their hell is just like a cell and you're like in a jail essentially. And it's showing through like, I don't know, just like projection screens and stuff, your worst nightmare on repeat over and over and over again. So that worst moment that you have to relive it over and over. And then like, you know, it's been done.
Yep.
But I like how they did that.
So they figure out that you go in and Zach gets pulled into this world and his father beat the shit out of him as a kid. And it was
an easy way to give some backstory to the characters as well as, you know, again.
And it was the cheapest, like easiest go-to. What's the worst thing that could happen to their dad beat them up with a belt? It's just
and both characters can be affected by that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and which is what made me so upset because they have this. I hate the child abuse thing, and it's not because I don't like it when it's done well, but like when it's done well, I understand. This wasn't done well, and so Josh gets the shit beat out of him, and then basically disappears. Like, and the door opens, and then Brett has to go in, and then they show the exact same thing, but they show it from underneath the bed where the kid's hiding. And it's like, so you not only are you doing this fucking ripoff thing, you're gonna do it exactly twice in a row, and it's the exact same thing. Besides, the kid is like, and then like the only difference is that then like his brother is like chasing after him at some point. And it's just like.
And then they're stuck in the like underworld from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah,
it almost reminds me of the in between world from like Relic or something. They like made this. He's like, come into my home. We made the basement a fun game.
But you know what the thing is, I actually have hated Relic less as I've thought about it because it's things about it and how it was supposed to be being representing Alzheimer's and how your like home becomes something else. Like it grew on. I still don't know why they peeled Grandma, but
dude,
this movie,
is is so good because you have to revisit it and you have to think about it, and it doesn't answer questions on purpose, but it has its underlining story that it is trying to accomplish, and it does it, and it is art on top of that. So that's why that one works, and then works again, and then is like it. I honestly, it's that's a fucking cool movie, man.
It was our first episode, but like, what I brought it up because that movie, like, the more time I'm just passed, I've grown more fond of a lot of it. Unlike this movie, where it's just like I'm getting angrier as I get further away from it, which is never good.
But this is a classic case of, okay, so Relic is a foreign movie. So like it's from Australia, and it doesn't have the two heavy hitters from the horror genre wrapped in it or anything. It has filmmakers that obviously love the craft of filmmaking and are trying to do something above just a normal film. So like they want to tell a story and do it in an artsy way, or whatever they were intending to do. I think they did. Whereas this one has the opposite going for it. It has two heavy hitters, so it already has an audience attached to it. Yeah. So now you have to either pander or not. So it can't go and be this, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's almost like it's like this double-edged sword getting, especially in the horror genre, because we have very loyal fan base, especially for like Hoddard, and like, you know, he'll get his following because he was Jason a whole bunch of times, and he's
and this movie just seems like they got those two people and then like, okay, we don't have to try now, because why would we? Because we have these names attached. So so Brett and Zach both go through this, and like Brett ends up like seeing Zach looking like, it's the most generic looking possessed thing where they're like got black ooze coming out of their mouth, and like
I thought she looked cool. And to be honest, like some of the cheap tricks they used in this were done very well. Like she was just draped with like a silk and sitting on a couch or a chair. Yeah. And that was literally all she was doing. But she had the creepiest face on her. And because she is older and she is willing to just be like, ah! Like it looks fucking creepy as hell. And that is more effective because they didn't have to do much. Some of the other stuff, not as effective.
It's aggravating because this movie was like, it doesn't know what it is either, right? It's like, is this a torture porn movie? Is this a slasher? Is this a ghost movie? Like, it felt like
it was trying to, it was cherry picking what it liked from its favorite movies and doing it itself.
Yeah. And it's just like, you're like, I've seen, like, and when you're ripping lines off, that's the worst part of this. And it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, but they were saying it. You think they would be like, maybe not.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So Brett disappears. The door opens. The clock rings, which is like what lets him in. And then Chris goes in. And Chris, you end up figuring out like his trauma was like his old high school where he came from. He had a girlfriend. He got pregnant, and they got into an argument over it. And she crashed her car and died. So like, his girlfriend and their baby died.
Murder killed her face.
Oh, it did. It was just like, it doesn't even, it didn't show anything very well. It was like, there's face and blood coming through the wall. Like, you don't see much.
She was like,
and and that was like the second time. Like the first time you didn't see shit. But then he's stuck in this mirror thing, and the girl comes like to him looking normal, like she's like a spirit somehow, and she's like, "You got to get out of here, Chris. You got to get out of here."
Look at how good I look, Chris.
I know. I don't look like a demon like everyone else in this movie. And he's like, "Okay." And then, so this fucking idiot.
He pretty much was like that. He turns around and is like, okay.
Okay. So I just have to pick the phone up over there.
Oh, then the Matrix. Oh, it's like the Matrix.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay. Oh, it's the phone over there, like in the Matrix. Fuck, dude. There was so
I love what is it like he goes to like pick it up and like no, it's like the Brett guy. One of the characters is in there and like he's trying to pick up the
He's
phone
like,
and someone distracts him with like, "Hey, why don't you look over there?"
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go look over there.
I stepped on
And
it.
it's like, Or was that Chris when he went in the second time? I don't fucking
Why
know.
am I snorting? What the fuck?
So I don't know, man, because this movie makes you snort. And so Chris finds the phone and gets out, and he comes back, and he's like sitting in the room, and so he should leave. And I don't think that the money thing doesn't really exist. I think they don't explain any of it, but so like it's the Tanya girl's turn to go in, and she's going, and there's this weird fucking thing where there's like she wanders off like Edward tells her not to, the Tobin Bell's character, and she sees this TV and there's a video of Chris talking to Edith, and she's like, yeah, kill all those fuckers. Like, and they make this Tanya character believe that Chris is in on this, and I don't understand how that happened, but I mean, none of that. It's incomplete. Like, none of it makes fucking sense. I mean, this movie is insane, but and she's like, yeah, we're gonna do that now. So this Tanya girl thinks that this is all a joke, but then they don't explain how any of that happened. Like, it's actually her. It's not like her voice or something. There's like a video playing of this, and she goes into him and she finds him and she's like, oh no, you're part of, and he's like, no, I didn't do that. She's like, oh, okay, I believe you, because if I don't, then like whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Because yeah, basically it's like, oh, okay, because if this like stopped it, the movie wouldn't finish. So Tanya still has to go answer the phone call. So she goes and finally answers the phone call because
no, she gets her own private VIP room. It's like, you're a mega bitch. Final round.
But it's not really final round, is it? Because then Chris goes,
she got her own private freaking double door. I was like, oh, because she was callous. She was like, at the beginning, I don't think you laid on how callous she was. Like, she, zero fucks, like negative fucks were given by her. She was callous as hell, and she was the mega boss for you know, like,
well, they make it as
world.
Yeah, they sell it off as that it's this girl who's traumatized because her sister died, right? So she's like this girl she's this edgelord who who's traumatized because all this happened, and but then she gets in her phone call and goes into Freddy's realm, and you figure out that what happened that day was that she killed her sister because everyone likes her little sister more than her. And
no, because she was daddy's little girl. And she's like, yeah, fuck that.
And hits her in the head with a rock.
And throws her off a bridge.
Her body falls. Yeah, throws her body off a bridge onto some rocks. And no one ever found her. Her body was like 17 fucking people walked by this 10 minutes later, and no one ever finds the body of this little girl.
And it was like on their just like on a normal like jog like home path. Too. Yeah, like their pathway home. And it's just like, wait, you couldn't find them, and it was just on their pathway home? Like, huh?
Yeah. Like nobody ever, like these girls go on this pathway that no one's ever going to be again.
Audition has encountered an error. What? I hope it still says it's recording, but I have
okay, cool. We'll see. Just let it keep going. And so, that is what happens is like she's the mega bitch. Like he tells her she needs to find the phone, right? And maybe she's the one who gets distracted. I stopped giving a fuck about some point in this movie.
I don't understand why he goes in and he finds his girlfriend or his whatever, his ex.
Yeah, his ex that died.
His ex. He is very, very like what the hell am I? He's very desperate to get some
Yeah.
with this other chick, but his ex comes and is so nice to him, and then he goes back in and
Saved him.
she's like
Now I'm a demon girl. Yeah.
why did you leave me? Ah!
Yeah. So he gets like Tanya the bitch gets pulled in, whatever. She plays the game, and you're in my world now, bitch. And then so Chris gets pulled back in. He doesn't even answer the phone, does he? Does he answer the phone the last time? Or maybe he does. Yeah, he does.
That's
And-
where the movie starts to do the transition thing, and it's just like, oh, we're gonna do the transition, and that's my world. I'm literally creating transitions, and their transition was just stand in front of this like old tube TV and go like this, and that's it. That was what they did, and it was like, oh, that's our cool glitch effect. I'm like, oh my god, really? That's it?
So
Come on.
we're at the point now because Chris gets pulled back in and gets killed by everyone, right? So this old lady, let's go over this and what all this shit means in this not written movie. So this old lady got her
Snot
life ruined.
written?
Yeah, snot. She gets her life ruined by this little kid who wants to be daddy's little girl for some reason. She ruins this lady's life, and then goes and pulls these other kids in to fuck with her because she hadn't ruined her life bad enough by everyone getting to blame her for this little girl disappearing, even though you move a couple of rocks and the body's right there. The girl literally hits her sister over the head with a rock, throws her off of a padded bridge, falls 4 feet, and is there, and no one ever finds her. But and she goes, okay, so she ruins this lady's
she
life
wasn't
and then
wearing the necklace. Come on.
Yeah. So she murders her own sister, takes off this necklace, which is fucking insane to me because then everyone would know. She's like, why do you have your little sister's necklace?
Because
The one that disappeared.
the old lady knew.
Yeah.
That's how
So
I
the
knew.
old lady.
But the parents never knew.
Yeah, the old lady figures out that she's wearing this necklace.
Wait,
the
how
scene at the
what
beginning.
was their relation to her? Did they say that?
She ran the like childcare. She had like a daycare center, and the sister was there that day she disappeared.
Oh, okay.
So she picked up the sister and then hit her over the head with a rock on the way home and killed her. And you're like,
oh, right. Okay.
yes.
That's where, okay. That was the beginning part.
Yep. Yep.
Dee!
And so they ruined this lady's life and then fucked with her afterwards forever, however long they did. And then they get her to kill herself. But somehow this woman figured out how to kill yourself and turn into Freddy Krueger. But instead of like
It's because of the
dreams-
grinding of the teeth. It was all in the grinding of the teeth. Like, if you do that as crazy as she did, you turn into...
you become Freddy Krueger.
This is what happens, man. Did you not know? You grind your teeth that hard. That is it. She probably said a few words, too, like, Necronomicon, something or other.
Necronomicon, Jason Goes to Hell.
Whatever. I know your damn words. And boom, hang yourself. Done. You're freaking Jason Bourne. I mean...
Oh, then you have to have your phone, your and she does this to fuck with these kids and leaves her poor
oh my God.
Jigsaw husband by himself to fuck with these. Like, this dude is like,
No, he's in heaven. Now he gets to play games. And he still gets to talk. And she just like randomly calls in the middle of like his no. To make sure you tell her this. Okay, honey, I got it. It's like she hasn't even left.
do you think they have phone sex like from the grave? Like he's like, hey honey, I mean, let's be honest, like you did kill yourself to get revenge on these teenagers, and I promised I wouldn't fuck any new people for a while, but can you at least like moan into the phone so I could like come in my belly button and like be done for the night? Come on, honey. You killed yourself. You left me all alone. Could you at least give me some oral like satisfaction so I can be like, go to bed all right tonight? Because honey, I'm a horny old dude. And now I don't.
You're in my world now.
Yeah. And it's like that episode of South Park where they're sticking their hand in like a thing of like jelly or something like that. And oh my God. So much of this, it is literally one of the laziest written horror movies I've ever seen. And it's just like, there was, like you said, there's some cool shots in this movie. Like the effects of some of the stuff is pretty decent, especially in the Freddy Krueger realm. Like, I don't even know if I mentioned, I think I was going to, and I don't know if I actually said it. Literally every one of these, like when they get pulled in this mirror by her, it's red. Like red is the only color that you see. Just like fucking, it's like the boiler scenes. Don't punch your drums, Josh.
Ow, fuck.
And just like the boiler scenes in like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Like it's so red, it's amazing. You're like, nothing in this movie is fucking original. And like they just combined out. Like, you know what it was? Is like they took they picked 10 horror movies out and then like chopped up took out keywords from the scripts and put them into into a bowl and started pulling elements out. And they're like, oh, okay, we're going to do the phone call. Oh, you're in my world now, bitch. Like, so I got to use that in line. And it's just like,
that's seriously, you could, yeah, honestly.
Yeah. And none of the kids are likable besides Chris, who ends up getting fucked over because he decides to, for some reason, go back in for, you know what that's what it was.
So bad, man.
Like that's why
he's desperate for it.
That's why the girlfriend came back the second time and was a demon. She's like, you fucking moron. You came back in here for pussy after you fucking I saved your dumbass.
Yeah. I was here and I was being nice to you, but I saw your crimped hair side piece. Get away from me.
Oh, it is. Dude, and this movie, even the fucking soundtrack for this movie was lazy as fuck. It was just like generic synthesizer, and you were talking about the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff, but it was God. When it was ever filler music, it was generic 80s synthesizer music. I think that's another reason why these movies go back to the 80s so much, is because it's cheap as fuck to produce synthesizer music for a soundtrack. You know what I mean?
And you can just get it from every stock site.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're not paying anyone big. You can pay probably some kid out of college for develop some synthesizer score for your shitty 90-minute movie. Like we said, man, it is there. Lin Shaye is fucking awesome. Tobin Bell's good. He's not great, but he's good. I think he does good with what he's given. The disappointed in the youth old man kind of thing, who just, he doesn't seem very sad the whole time, right? He kind of seems a little bit disappointed. Chris's mom is the worst actress I've ever seen.
There was a lot of bad acting in it, actually.
Yeah. The mom, the Zach was real bad. Edgelord with the cross earring was pretty bad. Brett was okay, some of it, his little brother, but he had these sequences where he just started laughing like a fucking maniac, and I'm like, that's real bad, dude.
Yeah.
I feel like if you got started drinking or participating in other substances, mind altering substances with a friend, you might have fun with this movie, especially when this bad rip-off lines happen. I can't believe they said you're in my world now. How do you do that? It's so infuriating. It's actually kind of crazy. But
you could probably do a drinking game to this movie. It's, I don't know. Someone come up with a drinking game and let us know.
Whenever you get ripped, something gets ripped off from another movie, you have to take a shot. But then we would die, Josh. Everyone who watched this movie would die if they tried to play that drinking game. So,
but that's the point of a drinking game.
Not to die. It's to get fucked up. Not to die.
Well, if you're watching no, you just grind your teeth. We went over this, man. You grind your teeth. Then you become Freddy Krueger, and it's all good, man. So don't worry about it. Do the drinking game, but just grind your teeth right. And it's all good at the end, man.
No, I don't.
And then everyone dies. And then you're in her
everyone
world,
dies
bitch.
besides Jigsaw, who could now do
But
his
you gotta
own Jigsaw movies.
No, if we're going with the premise of the movie, everyone has to die, man. So do the drinking game and die.
And then everyone died. And then everyone died. Okay.
So just let us know how it turns out, guys, when you're dead.
Okay. It's real bad. And
just don't watch it.
Shitting
Skip
on
it.
But I just the laziness is just kind of infuriating. Like, especially okay. Well, Josh, this is the time of the podcast where we decide what the fuck we're gonna watch next week. You have any things in mind here? You were talking about some things earlier.
Yeah, well, I know I'm gonna watch The New Mutants anyways, but because
I don't know if that's horror enough for me for right now. I want to watch that at some point.
But The Dark and the Wicked has 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, so I don't know what.
Okay, let's do that then.
Okay.
What is
no clue
The Dark
what it
and
is.
The Wicked?
No clue.
Let's read the premise before we do this. And,
what? Okay.
Okay, it says, on a secluded farm in a nondescript rural town, a man is slowly dying. His family gathers to mourn, and soon a darkness grows, marked by waking nightmares and a growing sense that something evil is taking over the family. I'm down with that.
Sick.
That sounds good as fuck.
Dude, the poster,
and
I'm all in on the upside down cross shit, and it looks like
the poster looks like an Evil Dead ripoff poster, but
no, but
is this a possession movie? It looks like
it looks like it because there's like a floating girl above a tree, which looks fucking dope.
Yeah.
I have a floating girl on my arm.
I'm good with that, man.
It's from The Witch.
Cool. We'll do that.
So cool. Okay.
Yep.
I have no clue, man. This movie kind of came out of nowhere, and I'm totally stoked to check it out. So
yeah, let's watch it. Let's check this shit out. Okay,
cool.
Everybody, Josh, it was a blast. It's fun as usual because I love it. It's fun to talk about something that was less than good. Like even things that we get weirded out before this. This was just not a good movie, so it was. Good
I'm totally down, man. It's harder for me on my own channel to review movies that I didn't like for some reason. I don't know why, but when it's like in a group setting and you can like
point things out.
Yeah, I don't know. It just like when you were like, "Oh, it was shitty," because you watched it first. I was like, "Oh, sweet. We can like shit on a movie pretty much, I guess, if it comes down to that." I didn't full on shit on it because there was parts that I did like about it. But to be honest, skip it. It's not worth it's not worth your time.
Yep. It's not worth the 90 minutes for sure, so.
Nah.
Okay. Well, Josh, tell everybody where they could find us or find you or find us. You just say our website. I think we'll do everything, right?
Murdermoose.com, guys. It exists. I haven't updated it yet. But hey, our info is on there and some past episodes. A blog might happen in the future, as well as, I don't know, if this grows, it could become whatever the hell we want because, well, I can do that.
Yep, it's there, and Josh does his web development stuff. So yeah, it's there. My stuff's on there. My Twitter, my Twitch, all that shit's there. So, guys, thank you so much for listening. I love you all. Yes, next week, The Dark and the Wicked. So we're gonna check that out. So,
sweet,
Josh, I love you. So till next week, I guess.
All right, buddy.
Have a good one.
Murder Moose out.
Murder Moose. Murder Moose. Bye, everybody.
Bye.